The movie begins by showing a bustling high school in Shanghai, where third graders are surrounded by the sounds of laughter and chatter. During the commotion, a bright-eyed and cheerful student named Song Xiaonan captures the attention of her classmates with a captivating story. She shares the rumors she's heard of an impending apocalypse, causing a stir of excitement and anticipation among her peers. Xiaonan's energetic voice fills the room, and even the students who were previously dozing off are jolted awake by the tale. But as she builds up to the climax of her story, a mischievous male student interjects by tossing a basketball her way. As the rest of the students look on, they quickly intervene before any retaliation can take place, reminding Xiaonan and the class that it's nearly time for their lesson to begin. The culprit behind the thrown basketball was none other than Yao Shu, a popular student known for his good looks and casual attitude towards academics. Despite his tendency to play hooky, he was well liked by his peers, and his playful fights with Xiaonan were nothing more than harmless banter between close friends. Their homeroom teacher had a surprise in store for the class that morning, introducing a transfer student named Lin Xiangji. With her beauty and mysterious demeanor, it's no wonder that Yao Shu was immediately smitten. There was something about her face that seemed eerily familiar to him, though he couldn't quite put his finger on it. Despite her shyness, Yao Shu couldn't resist his attraction and found himself drawn to her, taking a seat in the empty chair next to Xiaonan. Later in the day, as Yao Shu is assigned the task of cleaning up the sports equipment in the school warehouse, he can't help but gush to his friend Jiang Wu about the beautiful transfer student who has captured his heart. Brimming with confidence, he assumes that Xiangji is also drawn to him, due to the fleeting moment their eyes met. In the next class, Yao Shu mistakenly sends a letter to Xiangji, inviting her to get to know each other better. However, his plans are quickly foiled when Xiaonan intercepts the letter. Determined to teach Yao Shu a lesson, she decides to bring the matter to their teacher's attention. This turn of events is not surprising, as the two have had a rocky relationship since day one. Despite this, Yao Shu remains close to Xiaonan as a means to be near Jiang Wu, who is his best friend. The following day, as Xiangji is on her way home from school, she is confronted by Yao Shu, who presents her with a letter requesting friendship. Despite his persistent efforts to get closer to her, Xiangji feels uneasy and decides to put some distance between them. In a firm yet polite manner, she declines Yao Shu's offer and tears the letter in front of him, asking him not to bother her anymore. Yao Shu is left confused and bewildered by Xiangji's sudden change in attitude, not understanding why she would want to keep him at arm's length. That evening, after purchasing a goldfish, Xiangji receives a call from her mother, who checks in on her well-being. She reminds Xiangji to take her medicine regularly as prescribed by the doctor and to not stress herself out with worries. Her mother also reminds her to focus on her studies, as she has been forced to live with her aunt and attend a new school for an undisclosed reason. Her plan is to return to Beijing once she passes her university entrance exam. A week after their encounter, Yao Shu approaches Xiangji to apologize for making her feel uncomfortable. He realizes that his sudden request for friendship might have come across as too forward, leading to her negative reaction. To his surprise, Xiangji reveals that she has no memory of their previous interaction, and doesn't understand what he is referring to. This raises suspicions from Xiaonan, who also begins to suspect that Xiangji might be hiding something after seeing her talking to the teacher about her condition. During the day when Xiangji lost herself in the pages of a book in an abandoned building, Yao Shu, Jiang Wu, and Xiaonan couldn't help but be curious. They decided to follow her, hoping to uncover the reason behind her sudden forgetfulness. However, their plan was foiled when Xiangji caught them in the act. Undeterred, Xiaonan approached Xiangji, determined to get to the bottom of things. To their surprise, Xiangji revealed that she suffered from a rare form of amnesia, which caused her to forget anything that happened more than a week ago. Xiangji's condition was the result of a terrible accident that occurred 2 years prior when she was still in first grade high school. Along with her amnesia, Xiangji also struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, caused by the same accident. This made it even harder for her to recall any memories related to the event, including those of her own friends. Xiangji's condition had made her a target of ridicule and rejection in the past, as people grew frustrated with her constant forgetfulness and inability to remember their names. Faced with constant rejection, she began to withdraw from others and spend more time alone. This is why she had refused Yao Shu's invitation to be friends and had forgotten about it entirely. Despite the incredulity of the situation, Yao Shu's compassion and understanding outweighed any doubts he had. He refused to leave Xiangji to face her challenges alone and was instead drawn closer to her. He saw past her condition and wanted to live her life to the fullest and make the most of her high school years. With the determination to help Xiangji, Yao Shu and their friends made an effort to spend as much time with her as possible before the week was up. They invited her to go on adventures, try new things, and make lasting memories together. However, despite their best efforts, their plan was not as successful as they had hoped. However, when Yao Shu suffered an injury while fixing his bike, Xiangji's compassionate nature emerged. She couldn't ignore him and immediately came to his aid, offering him a handkerchief to clean his wound. Yao Shu gratefully accepted and thanked her for her kindness. As a token of his gratitude, Yao Shu gave Xiangji a diary that recorded all of their shared experiences and activities together. He hoped that this would help her remember their friendship and the fun they had shared. After Yao Shu's explanation, Xiangji finally understood the depth of their friendship and the lengths Yao Shu was willing to go to keep their bond strong. She was touched by his devotion and felt grateful to have such a dedicated friend. Inspired by Yao Shu's unwavering support, Xiangji agreed to write a diary with him. Together, they recorded their memories, experiences, and adventures, ensuring that their friendship would never be forgotten. Yao Shu remained optimistic, convinced that there was a cure for Xiangji's illness, and he was determined to do everything in his power to help her recover. Xiangji, too, held on to hope that her memories could be restored through the diary entries. With each passing week, she wrote down their experiences, determined to hold on to their friendship and the memories they shared. And so, with the help of the diary and Yao Shu's unwavering support, Xiangji slowly but surely became more familiar with her friends, Yao Shu, Jiangwu, and Xiaonan. They spent countless hours together, playing games, studying, and simply enjoying each other's company. They stumbled upon a forgotten astronomy club room in their school and decided to clean it up and turn it into their own personal hangout spot. One day they sat together in the cozy restaurant, sharing a meal and chatting about their future plans. The four friends felt content and happy. Xiangji spoke about her dream of studying psychology, hoping to help others who suffered from memory issues like her own. Jiangwu shared his plan to study in Beijing, to be closer to his family who had moved there a year ago. And Xiaonan, slightly embarrassed, revealed that she wanted to attend the same university as Jiangwu so she could always be near him. But as the conversation turned to Yao Shu, he wondered why his friends didn't seem to be curious about where he was headed. Xiaonan teased him, saying that if he was accepted into one of the universities in Beijing it would be a miracle. Yao Shu's 18th birthday was unlike any other. He was in for a big surprise when he walked into the astronomy club room. His friends had thrown him a birthday party, and he couldn't believe his eyes. The room was decorated with balloons and streamers, and there was a huge birthday cake in the center of the room. Yao Shu was overjoyed. As he blew out the candles on his cake, he made 3 wishes. The first was for all of his friends to pass their university admission exams. The second was for Xiangji's memory to return to normal. And just as he was about to make his last wish, they were interrupted by the school security officer. Panic set in, and the friends quickly scattered, trying to avoid getting caught. Jiangwu and Xiaonan hid in the library, while Yao Shu and Xiangji sought refuge in the gymnasium. As they caught their breath and tried to calm down, Xiangji asked Yao Shu what his last wish was. Yao Shu took a deep breath and told her that he wished for Xiangji to accept his feelings. Yao Shu's confession to Xiangji was met with a mix of emotions. Despite knowing that Xiangji's memories only lasted for a week, Yao Shu still wanted to be with her and expressed his feelings sincerely. But for some reason, Xiangji couldn't accept it and rushed away, tears streaming down her face. The events of that night took a toll on both Yao Shu and Xiangji. The next day, Xiangji couldn't remember anything about Yao Shu or his friends, and it was all due to the loss of her diary. Yao Shu, aware of the situation, searched high and low for the missing diary but to no avail. Xiangji's reaction to Yao Shu's persistence took a toll on both of them. She became distant and frustrated with Yao Shu's constant attempts to reach out to her. Despite repeated reminders, Yao Shu just couldn't seem to take the hint. One day, Xiangji couldn't take it anymore and scolded Yao Shu, telling him to stop bothering her. Just as she was about to walk away, Yao Shu suddenly collapsed with a headache. His friends rushed him to the hospital while a guilt-ridden Xiangji met with Yao Shu's mother. It was then revealed that Xiangji had known Yao Shu for a long time, and their relationship was much deeper than either of them had realized. It turned out that everything was not as it seemed. Xiangji had never lost her memory, nor had she contracted any rare disease. In fact, she had been purposely keeping her distance from Yao Shu to protect him. The real shocker was that it was Yao Shu who had lost his memory, including his memories of their friendship in the past. 2 years prior to the events of the story, Xiangji was in her first year of high school and had a close friend named Zhu Jie. The two had known each other since childhood and cherished their friendship deeply. One day, Zhu Jie confided in Xiangji that she was in love with one of their classmates. To Xiangji's surprise, that classmate was none other than Yao Shu. Upon learning about Zhu Jie's feelings for Yao Shu, Xiangji went above and beyond to help her friend. She came up with various scenarios to bring Zhu Jie and Yao Shu together, and with her help, Zhu Jie was finally able to get close to Yao Shu. Through their shared experiences and growing friendship, the three of them became close friends. Despite the initial complications, their love and friendship for each other only grew stronger. One fateful day, Xiangji, Zhu Jie, and Yao Shu went on a picnic at a peaceful lake. What started as a joyous outing quickly took a tragic turn when disaster struck. As Xiangji and Zhu Jie sailed in the middle of the lake to confess their feelings to Yao Shu, their boat suddenly shook, causing them to fall into the water. Despite Yao Shu's efforts to save them, Zhu Jie was unable to grasp his hand and sank to the depths of the lake. In a frantic attempt to save his friend, Yao Shu pulled Xiangji aboard the boat, but in the process, his head struck the edge, causing him to suffer heavy bleeding. Despite being injured, Yao Shu refused to give up and tried to revive Zhu Jie, but it was too late. Sadly, Zhu Jie's life could not be saved. The accident not only took Zhu Jie's life but also left a lasting impact on Yao Shu. He was in a coma for an extended period and upon awakening, discovered that he had lost all memories related to the tragedy. The trauma of the incident took a toll on Yao Shu's mental health, and he was diagnosed with PTSD. In an effort to protect himself psychologically, he unconsciously deleted the memories of the accident from his mind. After the tragedy, Yao Shu transferred schools, while Xiangji was subjected to mistreatment from her schoolmates who deemed her an unlucky carrier. To make matters worse, Yao Shu's mother asked Xiangji to stay away from her son, fearing that seeing her would trigger his trauma. For a full year, Xiangji suffered through the harsh reality of being ostracized and bullied by everyone at her school. It was the worst year of her life, as she lost her closest friends and struggled to survive in a hostile environment. The constant mistreatment took a heavy toll on her mental health, leading her to become deeply depressed and dependent on medication to manage her symptoms. Due to her inability to focus on her studies, Xiangji failed her exams and had to repeat her third year at a new school in Shanghai. However, she never expected to run into Yao Shu again. In an effort to keep her promise to Yao Shu's mother and avoid triggering his PTSD, she feigned amnesia, hoping to maintain distance from him. Despite her efforts, Yao Shu went to great lengths to get close to her and befriend her, making it difficult for Xiangji to keep her promise and avoid confronting her past. One day, while Yao Shu was still recovering in the hospital, Xiangji went to meet with Jiang Wu and Xiaonan to reveal the truth about the accident. She asked for their help in keeping the truth hidden from Yao Shu and expressed her grief over the suffering she had experienced. She also made a promise to stay away from Yao Shu after their high school graduation and not interfere in his life anymore. Jiang Wu and Xiaonan, understanding Xiangji's situation, agreed to help keep the truth from Yao Shu. A few days later, when Yao Shu returned to school, they approached him and asked him to respect Xiangji's decision and stay away from her. Although it was a difficult decision for Yao Shu, he ultimately obeyed and never approached her again. As the university admission exams approached, Xiangji and her friends worked hard to achieve their dreams of getting into the university of their choice. On the night after the exams ended, Jiang Wu mustered the courage to confess his feelings to Xiaonan, but their plans were thwarted as she had already made arrangements to study in Australia. Despite the distance, Jiang Wu promised to wait for her and maintain their connection until she returned to Beijing. Meanwhile, after finishing her university admission exams, Xiangji returned to Beijing and took the precautionary step of changing her phone number to prevent any contact with Yao Shu. Despite her efforts, Yao Shu was still determined to be with her and made plans to follow her to Beijing to express his feelings. In an attempt to stop him, Jiang Wu tried to convince Yao Shu otherwise, but his words were misinterpreted and led to a fight between the two. The argument escalated, causing them to physically push each other until they both ended up falling into a nearby pool. The shock of the fall jogged Yao Shu's memory, and he finally remembered all the forgotten memories, including those of Zhu Jie and Xiangji. He realized that Xiangji had never actually lost her memories and discovered the reason why she had been avoiding him. One day after visiting Zhu Jie's grave, it was reported that Yao Shu went to the residence of Zhu Jie's parents to apologize for only being able to come to see them once in the past year. It was then that Zhu Jie's father handed Yao Shu a love letter that Zhu Jie had written before her untimely passing. The father asked Yao Shu not to hold himself responsible and to move forward with his life happily without regret, as everything that had happened to Zhu Jie was a part of her destiny. A few days after that, Yao Shu obtained Xiangji's new address, but he still lacked the courage to confront her in person. Instead, he decided to send her a special package that included her diary and Zhu Jie's relic necklace. In the diary, Yao Shu filled in the blank pages with all of the cherished memories he shared with both Xiangji and Zhu Jie, as well as expressing his true feelings. It was revealed that before he became friends with Zhu Jie and Xiangji, Yao Shu had already developed feelings of love for Xiangji. This was the reason for the strong emotions he experienced upon seeing Xiangji transfer to his school, despite not having any memories of their past relationship at that time. Yao Shu had long wanted to express his feelings to Xiangji, but he never found the right moment to do so. He was also mistaken in thinking that the letter from Zhu Jie was a love letter, when in fact it was a letter outlining her plans for the future. In it, Zhu Jie expressed her wishes for her, Yao Shu, and Xiangji to do various activities together, such as lighting fireworks on festival nights, experiencing snow in the winter, and traveling the world. Yao Shu was aware that Zhu Jie's passing had left a deep emotional scar on Xiangji, and he understood why she was unable to accept his declaration of love. Xiangji still felt a sense of guilt towards Zhu Jie, and Yao Shu wanted to respect that by giving her the time and space she needed to heal. Therefore, Yao Shu chose to give Xiangji the necessary space and time to process her feelings, patiently waiting until she was ready to see him again. After reading the letter, Xiangji went to Yao Shu's home but was informed by his mother that he had gone out. The following day, when they finally reunited, Xiangji apologized for lying about her illness and thanked Yao Shu for sending her the necklace that belonged to Zhu Jie. Holding the necklace close, she reached out to Yao Shu and invited him to fulfill the last wishes of their late friend together. Yao Shu was overjoyed to have Xiangji back in his life and realized that not all wounds can be healed, but they can be confronted and overcome together. The story concludes with a beautiful scene, where Yao Shu and Xiangji gather on the roof of their old high school to light fireworks in celebration of the summer festival. With the vibrant colors lighting up the night sky, Xiangji expressed her gratitude for the understanding, compassion, and acceptance that both Yao Shu and their friends had shown her. The moral that can be learned from this movie is to never give up on people, especially those whom we believe have the potential to bring positive change and make our world a more beautiful place. It reminds us to hold on to hope, even in the face of loss and adversity, and to never give up on the people we care about.